The Galactic Council's Automated Planetary Classification System, or GAPCS for those who enjoyed turning everything into an unpronounceable acronym, had been running smoothly for approximately 7,000 standard cycles. It had catalogued over 40 million planets, moons, and various floating rocks that somebody thought might be important someday. The system was efficient, accurate, and most importantly, completely automated. Which meant nobody had to actually do any work. Perfect. On this particular rotation, GAPCS detected a new signal from a yellow dwarf star system in the unfashionable end of the Orion Arm Sector designation, Sol. Third planet from the star. Unremarkable. Probably another boring Class 2 or 3 world with some primitive bacteria and disappointing rock formations. The scan began, initial readings came back. Water detected. Oxygen atmosphere. Promising. GAPCS logged it as potentially habitable and continued the analysis. Then things got weird. Atmospheric oxygen content, 21%. GAPCS paused. That was high. Dangerously high. The kind of oxygen levels that could cause spontaneous combustion if you looked at it wrong. Threat level increased. Surface gravity, 9.8 meters per second squared. GAPCS recalculated. Twice. That couldn't be right. That was nearly double what most civilized species considered survivable long-term. Threat level increased again. Weather patterns analyzed. Hurricane force winds. Tornadoes. Blizzards. Electrical storms with enough voltage to power a small city. And the natives just lived there? Threat level climbing. Tectonic activity, active. Very active. The planet's crust was literally moving around like it had somewhere important to be. Volcanic activity detected on multiple continents. Threat level now officially concerning. Native predator count. GAPCS stopped counting at 500 species and just marked it as excessive. Final assessment loaded into the database. Classification, Class 12 Deathworld. The highest possible rating. The digital equivalent of a sign reading, "Abandon all hope, ye who enter here." Somewhere in the galaxy, an alarm started beeping. Someone was actually going to have to deal with this. Zalthor of the Trembling Pools had worked in galactic administration for 93 cycles, and in all that time, he had never once encountered a genuine emergency. He had encountered paperwork emergencies, coffee emergencies, and that one time the climate control made his desk uncomfortably warm. But never a real, actual, please evacuate the station kind of emergency. He was a Malaysian, which meant he looked like someone had given a garden slug 4 eye stalks, opposable tentacles, and a government job. His species had evolved on a paradise world where the most dangerous predator was a particularly aggressive fruit. They had no concept of survival instincts because they had never needed any. Zalthor was enjoying his morning gel supplement and contemplating the exciting prospect of filing reports about mineral deposits when his terminal exploded with red warning lights. Class 12 Deathworld detected. Sentient life confirmed. Initiate first contact protocols. All 4 of his eyes blinked in sequence. Class 12? That had to be a mistake. Class 12 worlds were theoretical. They existed in the database as a worst-case scenario, like a mathematical exercise designed to horrify cadet trainees. Actual civilizations did not evolve on Class 12 worlds because nothing could survive on Class 12 worlds. He pulled up the data file, fully expecting to find a glitch. Planet designation, Earth. Gravity, 1 g. He converted it to standard measurements and felt his entire body clench. That was crushing pressure. Atmospheric composition, 21% oxygen. His people breathed 4% oxygen. 21% was basically living inside an explosion waiting to happen. Native megafauna includes creatures called hippopotamus, polar bear, and cassowary. He pulled up images. His eye stalks recoiled in horror. And the sentient species? They called themselves humans. They had forward-facing eyes. Predator eyes. They were persistence hunters who had literally evolved to chase prey until it died of exhaustion. They consumed chemical toxins recreationally. They had somehow survived and thrived on this nightmare planet and had apparently decided it was perfectly fine. Zalthor needed a stronger gel supplement. 3 standard rotations later, the human vessel arrived at Galactic Station Prime. It was called the USS Perseverance, which should have been Zalthor's first clue that these beings had a concerning relationship with suffering Captain Jennifer Martinez, who insisted everyone call her Jenny because apparently military formality was optional for Deathworlders, strode through the airlock with the confident gait of someone who had never been prey a day in her life. She was tall by galactic standards, which meant she was average by human standards, with dark hair pulled back in what her file called a ponytail, and what Zalthor's brain registered as unnecessary aesthetic choice for a predator. Behind her came 3 crew members, all moving with that same easy, powerful grace that suggested their bodies were built for running down wounded animals across vast distances. Which, according to the database, was exactly what their ancestors had done. The docking bay, which had been buzzing with activity moments before, fell absolutely silent. A Vexillian trader took one look at the humans and fainted directly into a shipping container. A group of Flitterwing diplomats simply teleported away without bothering to excuse themselves. Zalthor watched as a maintenance drone, clearly programmed with better survival instincts than its organic creators, quietly reversed direction and disappeared around a corner. Jenny looked around, confused. Hi. We come in peace?" Her smile, meant to be friendly, revealed her teeth. Flat teeth for grinding plant matter in the front, sure, but also sharp canines designed for tearing meat. Omnivore teeth. The most terrifying kind because it meant they had options. Zalthor forced himself to ooze forward, keeping all 4 eyes on her at all times. His species' ancient instincts, dormant for millennia, were suddenly screaming at him to hide under something. "Captain Martinez," he managed, his translator converting his bubbling speech into something approximating standard galactic. "Welcome to Galactic Station Prime. I am Zalthor, your assigned liaison." Jenny extended her hand in what the cultural database had warned him was a handshake. A greeting that involved grabbing another being. With their grasping appendages. The same appendages they used to hunt. "Great to meet you," Jenny said cheerfully, apparently oblivious to the fact that she had just cleared an entire docking bay through sheer presence. "Sorry we're a bit late. Had to stop for coffee." "Coffee?" Zalthor's eye stalks twitched. The database had flagged that substance as a neurotoxin that humans consume to artificially increase their already alarming energy levels. These people, he realized with growing dread, had absolutely no idea they were terrifying. They genuinely thought they were normal. They had evolved in hell and assumed everywhere else was exactly the same. This was going to be a very long assignment. Zalthor had prepared a conference room for what he was mentally calling the conversation. Several other species representatives had been invited to observe, mostly because misery loved company and Zalthor was feeling particularly miserable about this whole situation. There was Kriake, a crystalline Letharian who communicated through light pulses. Ambassador Pleam, a gaseous Netherii floating in a containment suit. And distinctly fewer Flitterwings than he had invited, because apparently word about the humans had spread and most delegates had suddenly remembered urgent appointments elsewhere. Jenny sat across from them, relaxed in a chair that had been hastily reinforced to handle her Deathworld bone density. She had accepted a beverage, which she assured them was just water, though Zalthor noticed it was cold enough to have ice in it. His people would have gone into shock at that temperature. So, Zalthor began, pulling up a holographic display of Earth. "We need to discuss your planet's classification." "Oh yeah, the whole Class 12 thing?" Jenny waved a hand dismissively. "I saw that in the welcome packet. Seems a bit dramatic, don't you think?" Dramatic. She thought a scientifically calculated threat assessment was dramatic. Zalthor's eye stalks quivered. "Captain Martinez, your planet's gravity is 0.98 standard G. Most spacefaring species evolved in 0.4 to 0.6 G environments. Your gravity would literally crush 73% of known civilizations." Huh. Jenny considered this. I mean, yeah, astronauts lose bone density in 0G, but we just work out more. It's not that big a deal. Work out more. As if casually becoming stronger was a choice everyone had. Kriake pulsed nervously. What about the oxygen levels? 21% oxygen is corrosive. It should be burning your cells from the inside. Oh, you mean oxidation? Jenny shrugged. Yeah, that's kind of what aging is. But we live like 70, 80 years on average. Some people make it past 100. Ambassador Pleam's gaseous form rippled with what his translator conveyed as existential horror. You are aware your cells are slowly poisoning themselves and you simply accept this? I mean, we eat antioxidants. Jenny offered helpfully. Blueberries are great. Zalthor pulled up weather data. Your planet experiences Category 5 hurricanes with winds exceeding 300 km per hour. You have documented over 1,600 tornadoes annually. Lightning strikes the surface 8 million times per day. Well, yeah, don't go out in a hurricane, Jenny said, as if this was obvious. We have weather apps. You just stay inside, maybe make some popcorn, watch a movie. It's fine. You have a casual attitude about atmospheric phenomena that could obliterate entire cities? I mean, we build buildings to code. Most of them survive. The ones that don't, we just rebuild. Jenny paused. Wait, do you guys not have weather? Not that kind of weather. Zalthor's voice rose to a pitch his species typically reserved for predator warnings. A flitterwing in the back quietly fainted. Nobody bothered to catch them because everyone was too busy processing the revelation that humans considered planetary-scale destruction events to be movie night. Let's discuss fauna, Zalthor continued, knowing he was going to regret this. Your planet has bears. Creatures that can weigh up to 700 kilograms of pure muscle and claws. Oh, bears are cute though. Cute? I mean, you don't want to get close to them, obviously. But from a distance? Adorable. We put them on children's toys. Zalthor pulled up an image of a grizzly bear. Then an image of a teddy bear. His brain refused to process how the same species could look at an apex predator and decide to make a cuddly version for their offspring. Your oceans contain creatures called sharks, jellyfish that can kill with a touch, and something called a box jellyfish that has enough venom to kill 60 adult humans. Yeah, you don't swim in certain areas, Jenny said reasonably. We have warning signs. Warning signs. Not protective barriers. Not evacuation protocols. Signs. Captain Martinez, Zalthor said carefully, do you understand that most civilized worlds do not have megafauna that can kill their dominant species? Jenny blinked. Wait, really? Then what do you put in your zoos? The question hung in the air like a Deathworld thundercloud. Look, I think you're all overreacting, Jenny said, standing up from her reinforced chair. Earth's gravity is totally manageable. Here, I'll show you. Before Zalthor could protest, or flee, or do literally anything useful, Jenny dropped to the floor. What is she doing? Ambassador Pleam's gaseous form contracted in alarm. I have no idea, Zalthor whispered, though he had a horrible suspicion he was about to find out. Jenny placed her palms flat on the ground, extended her legs behind her, and began lowering and raising her entire body using only her arms. Up. Down. Up. Down. Her face didn't even show strain. These are called push-ups, she explained between repetitions. Basic exercise. I usually do like 50 in the morning. 50. She usually did 50 times this casual display of strength. Before breakfast. For fun. Kriake's crystalline structure literally cracked. A small fissure appeared down their center mass, which in their species indicated extreme psychological distress. You are lifting your entire body mass, Zalthor stated, because apparently his brain had decided that narrating the nightmare would make it less terrifying. It did not. Repeatedly. In 0.98 g, voluntarily. Well yeah, gotta stay in shape. Jenny hopped to her feet with the kind of explosive movement that prey animals used when fleeing for their lives, except she did it casually. Want to see jumping jacks? No. The response came from every alien in the room simultaneously. Jenny did them anyway. She launched herself into the air, spread her limbs, brought them back together, and landed. Then did it again. And again. 20 times. Her cardiovascular system didn't even seem bothered by the exertion. You see? Jenny said, not even breathing hard. Gravity's no big deal. Humans have been doing this stuff since we were kids. It's just normal exercise. Normal exercise. What she had just demonstrated would qualify as a superhuman feat of strength on 60% of known worlds. On the others, it would simply be impossible. Captain Martinez, Zalthor said weakly, I need you to understand something. Most species cannot do what you just did. Most species would require mechanical assistance to perform even one of those movements in their own gravity, let alone yours. Jenny looked genuinely surprised. Really? But it's so easy though. Easy. Of course it was easy. For her. Because she was built by a planet that apparently hated everything living on it and had decided that only the strong would survive. On my world, Ambassador Pleam offered quietly, our strongest athletes can lift approximately 1/5 of their body weight. And that is with years of training. Oh. Jenny processed this. So when you guys come to Earth, you'd basically be immobile, Zalthor finished. We would be immobile. Crushed under our own weight. Unable to breathe properly in your oxygen-rich atmosphere. Probably having our cellular structure degraded by atmospheric conditions. That sounds bad. It would be fatal within hours for most species. Jenny looked around the room at the various aliens, her expression shifting from confusion to something like understanding. So you guys really can't just work out more? No, Captain. We really cannot. Well, this has been enlightening, Jenny said, checking her watch. Mind if I eat lunch? I'm starving. Before anyone could answer, or preferably suggest she eat literally anywhere else, Jenny pulled a container from her bag. The smell hit the room immediately. Zalthor's atmospheric sensors went berserk. Warning, chemical irritant detected. Warning, potential biological hazard. Warning, evacuate area. Oh, sorry, Jenny said, popping open the lid. It's just leftover curry from last night. Hope nobody minds spicy food. Spicy. The human word for contains compounds that cause pain receptors to activate. They had a casual word for it. Zalthor's scanner display showed a detailed molecular breakdown of the substance in Jenny's container. Capsaicin levels were off the charts. The concentration was high enough to be classified as a chemical weapon on 47 different worlds. Captain Martinez, he said slowly, my scanners indicate that your food contains a neurotoxin derived from plants in the genus Capsicum. Oh yeah, ghost peppers, Jenny confirmed cheerfully. I like it hot. She likes it. The pain. She likes the pain. You are aware that capsaicin triggers pain responses? Krieke pulsed weakly. Well sure, that's the point. Jenny took a bite, chewed, and swallowed. The burn is the best part. Ambassador Pleam made a sound like gas escaping from a damaged seal. You consume substances that cause you pain. For enjoyment. Yep. Jenny took another bite, maintaining direct eye contact with Zalthor in a display of dominance that made all 4 of his eye stalks want to retreat into his body. Builds character. Then she pulled out a thermos. The liquid inside was dark, almost black, and smelled like someone had burned plants and decided to drink the result. Which, Zalthor's database informed him, was exactly what coffee was. Additional warning, alkaloid stimulant detected. Cardiac complications likely. That's just my coffee, Jenny said, taking a long drink. Can't function without it in the morning. Your scanner says it is a poison, Zalthor stated. I mean, technically yeah. Caffeine is toxic. But you build up a tolerance. Jenny shrugged. I'm up to like 4 cups a day. 4 cups. Daily. Let me understand this correctly, Ambassador Pleam said, their gaseous form rippling with distress. You regularly consume a neurotoxin that stimulates your cardiac system beyond normal parameters, and you have developed a dependency on this substance? When you say it like that, it sounds bad. Because it is bad. We also drink alcohol, Jenny offered, apparently trying to be helpful. That's literally poison that makes you feel funny. Zalthor pulled up Earth's database entry on alcohol. Ethanol. A solvent. Humans consumed solvents. Recreationally. In social settings. There were entire establishments dedicated to serving various forms of poison to customers who paid for the privilege. And chocolate, Jenny continued, on a roll now. That's toxic to a bunch of animals on Earth, but we love it. Oh, and pufferfish in Japan. One wrong cut and you die, but apparently it tastes amazing. You eat creatures that can kill you, Krieke stated flatly. Only if the chef messes up. And you trust them not to mess up? I mean, they're licensed. The room fell silent except for the sound of Jenny chewing her chemical weapon lunch and occasionally sipping her cardiac stimulant beverage. Captain Martinez, Zalthor said carefully, has your species ever considered that perhaps your relationship with food is not normal? Jenny paused mid-bite. Wait, what do you guys eat? Nutritional paste, Ambassador Pleam said. Carefully formulated to provide optimal sustenance without any harmful compounds. That sounds horrible. It is safe. But does it taste good? The question seemed to confuse the ambassador. Taste is secondary to nutritional value and safety. Jenny looked genuinely sad for them. Man, you guys are missing out. Missing out. On poison. They were missing out on poison. Zalthor was beginning to think the Class 12 designation might actually be understating the problem. I should probably call home soon, Jenny said, scrolling through her communication device. Let my pets know I'm okay. Zalthor's eye stalks perked up slightly. Perhaps this would be the one normal thing about humans. Surely their companion animals were gentle, domesticated creatures suited to peaceful coexistence. Oh, here's a picture, Jenny said, turning her screen around. The first image showed a creature with forward-facing predator eyes, prominent fangs, and powerful jaws capable of exerting over 150 kilograms of bite force. It was covered in fur and appeared to be the size of a small human child. That's Rex, my German shepherd, Jenny said fondly. Best dog ever. That is a wolf, Zalthor said. Well, kind of. Dogs are descended from wolves. We domesticated them like 15,000 years ago. We domesticated them. As if humans had looked at a pack-hunting apex predator and thought, yes, this should live in my dwelling and sleep on my furniture. Your companion animal is evolutionarily designed to hunt in coordinated groups and take down prey larger than itself, Krieke observed, their light pulsing with barely controlled panic. Yeah, but he's a good boy. Jenny swiped to another image. And this is Princess Buttercup. The second creature was smaller but somehow more disturbing. Retractable claws. Needle-sharp teeth. Eyes that reflected light like a nocturnal hunter. The database identified it as Felis catus, a solitary ambush predator with a success rate that put most military operations to shame. You have also domesticated an obligate carnivore, Ambassador Pleam stated. She's a cat. They're independent, you know. She mostly ignores me unless she wants food. Jenny smiled at the photo. Sometimes she brings me dead birds as presents. She brings you kills, Zalthor translated. I mean, I guess technically, but it's sweet. She's sharing. Sweet. The predator was sharing its kills and the human found this endearing. Do all humans keep predators as companions? Krieke asked weakly. Oh yeah, dogs and cats are super common. Some people have snakes, lizards, spiders. My neighbor back in Houston has a python named Fluffy. A constrictor, Zalthor said faintly. Big one too. Like 12 feet long. Really friendly though. Friendly. A creature that killed by suffocation was friendly. There's this guy in Florida who has a alligator, Jenny continued, apparently unaware that each word was causing psychological damage to everyone in the room. And people keep all sorts of exotic pets. Tigers, bears, all kinds of stuff. Though most of that's illegal now. Most. Not all. Most. Let me ensure I understand, Ambassador Pleam said slowly. Your species looks at dangerous predators and your first instinct is to befriend them? Well, not all of them. We're not stupid. Jenny paused. Though there was that guy who tried to live with grizzly bears. That didn't end well. What happened to him? Krieke asked, though Zalthor suspected they already knew the answer. The bears ate him. And this surprised people? I mean, a little. He had been doing it for years. Jenny shrugged. Most of us know better. You respect the dangerous animals, keep your distance, maybe appreciate them from afar. That is the most reasonable thing you have said today, Zalthor admitted. Unless they're cute. Then all bets are off. Zalthor felt something inside him break. It might have been his will to live. Cute? Yeah, like trash pandas. Trash pandas? Jenny pulled up an image of a creature with a masked face and grabby little hands. Raccoons. They're everywhere, get into garbage, carry diseases, bite if cornered. Adorable little guys. The creature looked like a tiny bandit. A rabid, potentially violent tiny bandit. Your species has no survival instincts, Zalthor declared. You see danger and you want to pet it. Pretty much, Jenny agreed cheerfully. Zalthor, glutton for punishment that he apparently was, decided to review the medical data humanity had submitted with their first contact package. Surely their fragility would be the one thing that made sense. Even Deathworlders had to be vulnerable to something. He opened Captain Martinez's personal file first. Oh no, he whispered, the list of injuries read like a military combat report. Broken arm at age 8. Concussion at age 12. Sprained ankle at 15. Another concussion at 19. Fractured ribs at 23. The list went on. And on. And somehow, impossibly, Jenny Martinez was still alive and functioning at optimal capacity. Captain Martinez, Zalthor said carefully, your medical records indicate you have broken multiple bones throughout your life. Oh yeah, Jenny said, as if this was completely normal. Kids break stuff all the time. I was a tomboy, always climbing trees and playing sports. Just part of growing up. Just part of growing up. Skeletal fractures were a routine childhood experience. You fractured your radius and ulna at age 8, Zalthor read from the file. The treatment was to immobilize the limb for 6 weeks and then you resumed normal activities. Well yeah, once the cast came off. The bone just healed itself. That's what bones do. Zalthor pulled up comparative medical data. Captain, in most species, a broken bone is a career-ending injury. Some species never fully recover. A few die from the trauma. Jenny blinked. Wait, seriously? But bones are made to handle stress. They literally get stronger when you stress them. That's how weight training works. Weight training. They deliberately stressed their skeletal system to make it more durable. Of course they did. You have also sustained multiple concussions, Zalthor continued, morbidly fascinated now. Impacts to your primary cognitive organ. Yeah, I should probably have been more careful about that, Jenny admitted. The second one was pretty bad. Had headaches for like a week. A week. She had damaged her brain and recovered in a week. On my world, Ambassador Pleam interjected, any impact to our cognitive centers results in immediate death. That seems inconvenient. It encourages us to avoid impacts. Fair point. Zalthor scrolled further. It says here you continued working during a viral infection that caused elevated body temperature, muscular pain, and respiratory distress. Oh, the flu? Yeah, I had a project deadline. Took some medicine, powered through. Powered through. She had powered through a systemic infection that would hospitalize most species. Do humans ever stop when injured? Kriake asked, their crystalline form still showing stress fractures from earlier. I mean, if it's really bad, sure. But most stuff you can just walk off. Jenny paused. My dad used to say, rub some dirt on it and get back in the game. Your parental unit encouraged you to ignore injuries, Zalthor stated. It was a figure of speech. Mostly. Zalthor closed the medical file before he could discover anything else horrifying. Captain Martinez, your species is either incredibly durable or incredibly stubborn. Why not both? Jenny grinned, why not both indeed? Zalthor was beginning to understand that humans didn't survive Earth despite its dangers. They survived because of a sheer, bloody-minded refusal to acknowledge that anything could kill them, even when it probably should. So what do humans do for recreation? Ambassador Pleam asked, perhaps hoping for something resembling normalcy. Surely you have peaceful leisure activities. Oh totally, Jenny said. I love football. Used to play in college. Zalthor pulled up the database entry for human football. His eye stalks recoiled in horror. This is a contact sport where participants deliberately collide with each other at high velocity. Well yeah, that's the fun part. People suffer concussions regularly. That's why we wear helmets now. Now. Implying there was a time when they didn't wear protective gear while slamming into each other. What other sports do humans enjoy? Kriake asked, with the tone of someone who knew they wouldn't like the answer. Oh man, so many. There's hockey, rugby, boxing, mixed martial arts. And extreme sports like skydiving, rock climbing, base jumping, whitewater rafting. Jenny was counting on her fingers. Oh, and parkour. That's where you run through cities jumping off buildings and stuff. Jumping off buildings, Zalthor repeated. For fun, Jenny confirmed. You have invented activities that simulate mortal danger for entertainment purposes. I mean, when you say it like that it sounds weird, but yeah. Life's too boring otherwise. Too boring. Life on a Class 12 Deathworld was too boring, so humans invented new ways to risk death. There are people who climb mountains without oxygen, Jenny continued. Free dive to insane depths. Surf waves that can kill you. Cave diving, volcano boarding, wingsuit flying. Wingsuit flying? Ambassador Pleam asked weakly. You wear a suit and jump off mountains. Glide through the air really close to rocks and trees. What happens if you miscalculate? You die, Jenny said simply. But the thrill is worth it, apparently. Not my thing personally. I prefer safer stuff. What is your definition of safer? Zalthor was afraid to ask but couldn't help himself. You know, hiking, swimming, maybe some light rock climbing. Normal stuff. Normal. Humans had redefined normal to include activities that would be considered suicidal on most worlds. Let me understand this, Kriake pulsed slowly. Your planet is already trying to kill you constantly. And you invented additional dangerous activities because the natural dangers were insufficient. Pretty much, Jenny agreed. Humans need challenges. We get bored easily. They get bored easily. On a death world. So they invented extreme sports. Zalthor was starting to think the real miracle wasn't that humans had survived Earth. It was that they hadn't accidentally made themselves extinct through recreational activities. After 6 hours of what could only be described as controlled psychological terror, Zalthor finally approved Captain Martinez's clearance for station access. With restrictions. Many restrictions that he updated Earth's database file, adding new warning categories that had never existed before. Species consumes toxins recreationally. Domesticates predators for companionship. Treats grievous injury as minor inconvenience. Invents dangerous activities when natural environment insufficient. There was a new subcategory he created specifically for this situation, friendly Deathworlders, approach with caution. Because that was the truly terrifying part. Humans weren't malicious. They weren't conquerors or warmongers, at least not the ones who had made it to space. They were friendly, enthusiastic, and genuinely confused about why everyone else found them horrifying. Jenny stood to leave, apparently unfazed by the day's revelations about her species' abnormality. This was great. Thanks for all the info, Zalthor. Really helps us understand the galactic community better. You are welcome, Captain. Zalthor managed to keep all 4 eyestalks focused on her, which he considered a professional victory. Oh, hey, you should totally visit Earth sometime. Jenny's face lit up with genuine enthusiasm. We'd love to show you around. You could meet Rex and Princess Buttercup. Maybe try some real food. We've got this amazing taco place in San Antonio. Every part of Zalthor's being screamed in protest at the idea. Visit Earth. The Class 12 Deathworld, where the air was poison, the gravity was crushing, the weather was apocalyptic, and the dominant species thought all of this was no big deal. That is a very generous offer, Captain Martinez, Zalthor said diplomatically. However, I believe my physiology would not tolerate your environment well. Oh right, the gravity thing. Bummer. Jenny looked genuinely disappointed that he wouldn't be visiting her nightmare planet. Well, the invitation stands if you ever get some kind of exoskeleton or something. An exoskeleton. To visit. For vacation. I will keep that in mind, Zalthor lied. Jenny gave him a cheerful wave and headed toward the door, where 2 security drones immediately established a perimeter around her. Not to protect her, Zalthor noted, but to protect everyone else from accidentally startling a predator. As the door closed behind her, Ambassador Pleam drifted closer. She has no idea, does she? No idea about what? Krieke pulsed weakly. That she's terrifying. That her entire species is terrifying. They genuinely believe they're normal. Zalthor watched through the observation window as Jenny walked down the corridor, nodding politely at aliens who scrambled to get out of her way. She probably thought they were just being courteous, giving her space. She had no concept that they were fleeing. That, Zalthor said quietly, is what makes them most dangerous. They are apex predators who think they are harmless. Deathworlders who believe they are ordinary. They have conquered a planet that would kill most of us in hours, and they think everyone else could do the same with a little effort. What do we do? Ambassador Pleam asked. Zalthor pulled up the finalized database entry for Earth. Class 12 Deathworld. Sentient species, humans. Threat level, extreme. Friendliness level, also extreme. Recommended approach, cautious optimism and reinforced furniture. We, Zalthor said, are going to establish diplomatic relations, trade agreements, and cultural exchange programs. Because the only thing more dangerous than having humans as enemies would be not having them as allies. And if they invite us to their planet? We politely decline and suggest neutral meeting locations. Preferably ones with adjustable gravity and reasonable atmospheric oxygen levels. Somewhere in the distance, Jenny was probably already planning her next adventure. Maybe trying the station's zero-gravity rec room. Possibly befriending something she shouldn't. Definitely not realizing that she had just redefined the galactic community's understanding of what it meant to be alive. Humans, Zalthor reflected, were going to change everything, and they had absolutely no idea they were doing it. The scary part was, that might actually be better.